Hello everyone and welcome to the start of another reading vlog. I'm actually really excited for this reading vlog because as you can see from the title, I currently don't know what I'm going to be reading. So this is basically why I decided to do this challenge. And I am in New York City, so I'm still in quarantine, so all of the bookstores are closed and the library is closed. I've been ordering a lot of books online, but not only am I spending a lot of money, I also just don't love buying books when I'm only going to be reading them once and then not pick them up again. And I decided that I want to go outside my comfort zone. So I've been asking around to my friends and seeing if they have any books that they can lend me during this time so I can wait for the library to reopen but also have something to physically read. So I texted one of my friends and she said that she has some books that she could lend me. So she asked me what genre, what I was kind of feeling, or what I was in the mood for to read, and I was like, just surprise me, bring me anything. So basically what the plan is I am going to meet her up at the park, and then she's going to bring the books, and I have no idea what they are. I don't know what genre they are. I don't know how many books she's bringing, and I'm going to be as surprised as you are. So make sure to stick around for the rest of the video, and we will both find out together what I will end up reading this coming week. So I'm back from the park and she definitely brought me a stack of books. So let me just go through one by one what the books are. And I honestly don't know anything about these books. I kind of want to go into them blind, but let me show you what she brought me. The first book is I Was Told There'd Be Cake by Sloane Crosley. Next is There by Tommy Orange. Then the next one, if I can read this title, is One Day We'll All Be Dead and None of This Will Matter by Sachi Cole, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And then there's Mice by Gordon Reese. And then lastly, we have Priest Daddy by Patricia Lockwood. So those are the 5 books she brought me. I'm going to attempt to read all of them. Obviously, if I'm not loving one of them, I'm just going to DNF it. But thankfully, they're not very long. So I'll probably start with like the shortest just to get a feel, but they're all like very different types of books, so I'm like excited and nervous to see because these are books that I would never have picked up on my own. The only one that I was like kind of looking at earlier was There, but that's the only one that I'd heard of. And the plan for the rest of this video is I'm currently reading books right now and I want to get those done before I dive into this pile. So what I'm going to do is I'll probably check back in with you sometime within the next week and I will get started reading all of these books. Okay, so it's a little bit later and I actually have a reading update for you. But before I get into the update, please let me know in the comments down below if you've read any of these books or if you've heard of any of them, just because I wasn't really familiar with them before and I'm curious to see if you have any thoughts and opinions on these books. So yesterday, I picked up my first book, which was I Was Told There'd Be Cake. If you're not familiar with this book, it's basically a collection of essays. So it's like short stories about this woman's experience living in New York City. The reason why I picked this book up first was because I was the most excited for this book. It was not only very short, but also I live in New York City and I was like, I think I like this book. It sounds really interesting and intriguing. And I ended up DNFing it already. The first book I picked up out of this experiment, I DNF'd. So we're off to a great start. What did I not like about this book? A lot of things. I got to page 90. I read 7 out of the 15 of the short stories, and I just was not connecting with the short stories at all. I did not like the writing style. I felt like her short stories had a really good idea, but she just like would never execute it well. So she'd start off with a story, like for example, there was one story that was about at one of her first jobs, she really hated her boss. And I was like, I've had that experience before, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna really like the story. But what she does is she'll start strong with like a good idea, and then she'll start going on like all of these tangents, and then at the end of the story, you're like, what was I supposed to get out of that? I just feel like if you're gonna write a story, there needs to be some sort of takeaway or like a lesson learned or something that the reader can take with them in life. But I felt like she was just trying to be funny, but like it wasn't funny. So I just like wasn't engaged at all, and I was just like, I'm gonna push myself and force myself to continue to read it because it's so short. And then I was like, I don't want to waste my time with this book. It's so sad though, because like the idea of it is there. Like I love the fact that it was in New York City, but I just really didn't like it. And this one is a DNF. So because the book that I was the most excited for I didn't like, I decided to pick up the book that I was the most nervous for, which was Mice, because this is just a book that I don't think I would ever pick up on my own. So I'm about 100 pages of the way through, and let me just give you a brief synopsis of what this is about. This is a thriller. It's basically about this mom and daughter. The daughter's name is Shelly. They basically just have like really sucky lives. The daughter is heavily bullied at school, like really extremely, and the mother, her husband, left her. So they decide to kind of escape from their misery and go to Honeysuckle Cabin, which is like this cabin out in the woods where they can kind of live their life and do their own thing away from other people. And on the eve of Shelly's 16th birthday, this man breaks into their house, and they are now going to be going through like a bunch of these different things and going to be tested. And the reason why this book is called Mice is because Shelly and her mother are considered to be, you know, timid, nervous, and obliging. And so when this guy breaks into their house and they're tested, they're gonna realize, well, maybe we're not actually mice, and maybe we're gonna have to step outside of our comfort zone and, you know, take initiative and action in our lives. So it's a thriller. I was actually looking this book up and trying to see if this is a YA novel, because not only does it read like a YA novel, but it's also told in a first-person perspective of a 16-year-old, but I didn't see that it was listed as that. I think this book is actually originally from England, which is interesting, and it's about 10 years old. It came out in 2010. When I was looking at reviews for this book, I got a little bit nervous. I was trying to not look at reviews, but I was just researching it, of course, and this is not a popular book, meaning it's not very well known. Out of all of the books that I listed, this is probably the one that I'd be most surprised if you actually heard about. On Amazon, it had about like 41 reviews, and then on Goodreads, it had a little over 2,000, which is not very many reviews at all. And on Goodreads, the average rating was like a 3.6, so most people gave this book either a 3 or 4 stars, so not like the most popular book ever. I was a little bit worried, but I also don't want other people's opinions to sway my opinion of this book. I think it's good, not great. Like, I will probably continue reading this because I'm actually like interested in the story, even though I'm not usually a thriller person. Like, I find it an easy read and it's entertaining, so I'll probably just continue on with it and see what happens. Maybe my opinion will change, I don't know. Maybe I'll agree with people, maybe I won't, but I want to give this book a chance because I think it's important to not only just read hyped books and give authors and books that aren't as well known a chance, because you never know, I might actually end up really liking it, but I don't think that's actually gonna happen. Just saying. Also, can I just say, my friend didn't read any of these books before she gave them to me, so it's not like she's recommending me her favorite books. Like, she's only read like half of a couple of them, or like the beginning part, so she doesn't even really know what they are, which is fine. So I'm kind of testing them out for her. But I did want to go into like my updates on like what I'm planning to do in the future. I will update you guys as I go along. So once I finish a book or DNF a book, I will let you know. And I am planning on listening to this book via audio as well as this book via audio, because these are both memoirs, and I actually really like listening to memoirs. It's one of my favorite books to listen to. This one's really short. It's like 5-something hours long. It won't take me that long to listen to. This one's the longest book. This is around 10 hours, so I'll let you know when I get started on both of those, or when I finish them, whenever I decide to update you guys. And then this book, which is the one that I heard of and had actually considered reading, I'm gonna physically read this because I feel like it's a deep book that I'm gonna have to like pay more attention to, and it's fiction, and I usually like to physically read fiction, so those are my plans. I will obviously update you as I'm starting and finishing books, whatever I feel. At the very end of this video, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rank the books from my favorite to least favorite and see which ones I like, which ones I don't like, so stay tuned for that, and I'm excited to continue on this reading journey experiment with you. Another reading update for you guys. I actually finished Mice this morning, and I'm gonna eat my words a little bit, and I actually really enjoyed this book. This is the book that I was the most nervous for picking up, and the one that just didn't really appeal to me. I'm not really a thriller person, but I honestly really enjoyed my reading experience. It was definitely a book that kept me on my toes and I was always curious about knowing more, and I just thought it was like really entertaining and light and fun, and it was just so interesting seeing the character development of both Shelley and her mom and the decisions that they made, and you're just like, why are you doing that? But I honestly really liked it, and if you're looking for a kind of like a light-hearted thriller that you just want to like read in like a couple of sittings, I actually would recommend this. Again, this just proves that just because something has a low rating on Goodreads, that does not mean that it's not a good book. When I was actually doing some research on this book, Gordon Reese is actually a children's author. This is his first debut novel, so maybe that's why the writing style is like pretty easy to get through, but yeah, I actually really liked it. I would be curious to see what some of the criticisms are for it. I would understand if you're like a hardcore thriller person why someone might not want this book, but if you want something that's light and entertaining and kind of eerie and a little bit spooky, then definitely pick this up. I'm actually really happy that I ended up enjoying it, and yeah, what a surprise. Who would have thought? So yesterday I started the audiobook for Priest Daddy. This book is basically a memoir about this girl who was raised by a priest who is pretty unconventional. I'm not gonna lie, I started listening to the audiobook. I don't think I even made it like 30 minutes of the way through, and I just like wasn't really connecting to the story, and I just like wasn't super interested. There's nothing to say that this book is bad, but I just am not in the mood to force my way through a book because of a video, even though I love this video idea and I want to go outside my comfort zone. I think I'm just going to put this book on hold because it's a 10-hour audiobook and I don't really want to just force my way through it. There's so many amazing books out there, so I might just table this book and then just move on to the others that I have in this pile. If this interests you, please look it up. It's just not something that really interests me. But this is like really random, but in the author like bio in the back, it says this. It says, Patricia Lockwood was born in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and raised in all the worst cities of the Midwest. It's like, that is such an interesting start to a bio. But yeah, so I'm gonna DNF this book. And then today I actually started listening to One Day We'll All Be Dead and More of This, and None of This Will Matter. And actually, it says like a perfect little description in here. It says, it's a debut collection of fierce and funny essays about growing up, the daughter of Indian immigrants in Canada, a land of ice and casual racism. So I'm only like 20 minutes of the way through. I haven't even finished the first like short story yet. It's definitely better than this because her stories at least like make sense, but I mean, obviously you need to give this more time. The audio, it's a very short book and the audiobook is only like 5 hours long. So I'm gonna finish this. It's too early to tell if I'm gonna like it or not, and clearly I don't actually know whether I'll like a book or not, because every time I think I'll like a book, I end up not, and then when I don't think I'm gonna like a book, I end up liking it a lot. So, but I'll definitely keep you updated on my progress with this guy, and then because I'm done with Mice and need a new physical read, I'm gonna pick up There, which I will obviously tell you what the synopsis is about when I actually start it, but this is a book, as I said, that I've been curious about reading for a little bit, so I'm really hoping I like this book. I could be totally wrong, but I think this is one of the more like popular and well-known books out of like the 5 books that she gave me, so I'm hoping I like it, but I guess I'll tell you in a couple of days. So yesterday I received a package in the mail and I thought it would be fun to unbox it with you. I was actually not expecting this package. My amazing friend sent it to me and she said it was bookish related, so I was like, why not open it in a reading vlog? I have no idea what it is. It's a total surprise. All I know is that she got it at Barnes & Noble and I'm just pretty excited to open it. I've literally been shaking it all morning trying to like figure out what it is. All I know is I'm pretty sure it's like a hardback, but let's see what's inside. Oh, it's not a hardback. Oh no, maybe it is. Oh my god, wait. This is so funny. Oh my gosh, if it's okay. This is so sweet of her to send me In 5 Years, which is a book that is one of my most anticipated reads. This is hilarious because I literally, no joke, ordered this 2 days ago and I canceled my order because, you know what, I don't want to spend money on a hardback and then I'm going to just pick it up from the library. And that was so sweet of her to send this to me. That's so bizarre. I have to tell her that I actually ended up buying it, but I returned it. I love the cover of this book. I think it's so pretty and so New York-y. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited to read this. I've been wanting to read this for so long. And now I'm glad I returned it because that was very nice of her. And then she also sent me Circe, which is a book that me and her have talked about reading together. And all I know about this is that it's Greek mythology. I've heard really good things about it. I've never read a book about Greek mythology before. But also, that's a very beautiful cover. So I guess you can look forward to me reading these in future reading vlogs, but thank you so much. I really appreciate the gift. another unboxing for you guys. I'm pretty excited about this one. I actually know what it's gonna be. And it's bookish related, so I thought that I would share it with you. Let's see. There's these just little white bookends, which I thought was kind of cool how it's like all geometric, and I like that it's see-through, so you'll actually be able to see the books through it. I don't know, maybe I'm just nerding out. But yeah, that is what I just ordered, and these are pretty inexpensive, and I just want to put some books up on a shelf, so I thought these would be kind of cute. And let me also give you a brief reading update. So yes, this is another DNF. I'm just knocking them down like one by one. I've realized that this is not my genre. Both of these books are by authors who just wrote like a collection of essays about their life, and not my thing. Apparently it's not my thing. So I only got through like 16% of this. I was listening to it via audio. I didn't like it at all. I only got through the first story and then like a little bit through the second, and I was just getting such a massive headache listening to the story and getting in a bad mood and in a reading slump that I was just like, I can't do this to myself, so I DNF'd it. I just felt like she was telling stories about her life that weren't that interesting, which it's kind of like when you're like meeting up with like a long lost friend and they're just like sitting across the table from you, like rambling about their life, but they're not telling you anything that's very interesting, and you're just sitting there like, why am I listening to this? And also, this sounds really bad, I'm not like a comedy person. I don't think that like comedians are that funny, for me at least. So when people are like intentionally trying to be funny in books, it just doesn't come across well. And like you can even see like in the name, like one day we'll all be dead and none of this will matter. Like it's like not that funny. Also, I can barely read this title because X'd out, just like this book, X'd out. But let me give you another update. So I've DNF'd 3 books in this video, but I'm determined to finish at least one more, and I'm going to finish this book, which is there. I actually really like this cover. I think it's really pretty. But let me just give you a brief rundown of what this book is about. So it's told in 12 different perspectives. They're all Native Americans, and they're all traveling to the Big Oakland Powwow, which is a Native American festival where there's like singing, dancing, and feasting. And it's just, yeah, it's told in different perspectives. So each chapter is like, you have the title the person is talking about, and then it's like their perspective, then it keeps like switching. All of their stories are like a little bit intermingled in a way. I will go into my deep thoughts on this book when I'm done with it. I kind of want to save my judgments, I guess, until I'm all the way done. But let me tell you where I'm actually at. So I just got to page, let's see, 229, and there's like 290 pages in the book, so I'm almost done. Hopefully I'll finish this in the next couple of days, but I will definitely give you my final thoughts on this one very soon. Hello, so I want to give you my final reading update. I just finished There yesterday, which was the second book that I've completed in my Friend Picks My TBR challenge. If you're wondering whether I liked this book or not, I'm gonna say in short, no, I did not end up enjoying this book, which I honestly feel really guilty for saying that. Whenever I don't like a book, it's always really hard for me to articulate why I don't like a book, especially with a book like this, where I personally do believe the story is really important. So what I usually do is I'll go to Goodreads and I'll see what other people who didn't like the book said, and I actually stumbled upon a review which really just sums up exactly what I think, and I just want to read it to you so you kind of get a sense of where I'm coming from. And this person says, any novel that highlights or educates its readers about a time in history where there was mistreatment of people due to their race, religion, or beliefs is always worth reading, and this book is one of those books. However, I am not judging the book on its importance, but on how it came across and affected me, and unfortunately from page 1, I didn't connect or engage with either the story or the characters. I thought that was so well worded because it's so true. This is a story that needs to be told. We need to be reading more books by Native Americans. I think it's really important. This is only my second book that I've read, written by a Native American author, but unfortunately it just didn't grab my attention. And I think one of the main reasons why I didn't like this book, which I've been finding is actually a reason why I don't like a lot of books, is I don't like multiple point of views. So this book had 12 main characters, 12, and each chapter it was told from a different perspective, and I just feel like that wasn't giving the reader enough time to really get to know each character. I think the story would have been way more effective if he had just chosen one or two of the characters and you followed them in their story. But there came to a point where I honestly didn't even know who I was reading about because it had been hundreds of pages since I had last seen or heard about that character, and I was just having a really hard time keeping track of everyone, and I just didn't feel like I got to know them super well, and I'm a huge character-driven person when it comes to books, so unfortunately that's one of the main reasons why I didn't like this book. But if you're looking for a book that is written by a Native American, I actually read The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian by Sherman Alexie. I loved that book. I highly recommend it for anyone who's looking to pick up a book by Native American and learn more about Native American communities. It was a really great read. But so I was asking myself, like, did I think that this little experiment was a success? And I'm gonna leave you to be the one to decide that, because honestly, I feel like I found out a lot about the things that I don't like in books. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I always think it's important to go outside of your comfort zone, but at the end of the day, you're gonna like what you like, and even though you should always push yourself, especially with books, to read outside of your normal genre, because you might find a book that you really like. Ultimately, if you don't like a book, you don't like a book, and there's nothing you can really do about it. On the flip side, though, looking at the positive, I really did like this book, and I realize actually that I'm matching it, but I like this book. I would have, one, never heard of this book, and also would have never picked it up. This was the book when she showed it to me, I was like, it just looks weird. Like, it looks eerie, and the title is kind of weird, but I don't know, I really like this book. I thought it was super entertaining, a really good read. So if you're looking, as I said, for just like an easy read thriller, I would highly recommend this book. I really enjoyed it. So overall, I don't know if this was a success, but I enjoyed my time with it. Please let me know if you would like to see this again. I'm always down for my friends to recommend books to me and see. I might find a new favorite, or I might find some new things that I absolutely hate in books. But thank you so much for being here and being here until the end of the video. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in my next one.